Good day and welcome to the Lilly Roddy Show here at the LRS Studios in Houston, Texas. I'm so glad to have you join me this week for another look at what's going on with the planets. Let's get started. On January 26th, we have our Jupiter-Uranus square. This is certainly a foreshadowing of the last 2 weeks of upcoming April, when we have a grand cross in cardinal signs with Mars, Jupiter, Uranus, and Pluto. These are some very powerful energies, and we are already seeing the early results with the problems in the Ukraine with Russia, and the increasing tensions between Japan and China. And of course, right here in the USA, the health care legislation and the LGBT rights to equality will be hot topics, as well as the resistance to progressive ideas. Also, Mars will be going stationary retrograde on March 1st. Old issues will be coming to the surface. And into the following week, Saturn goes retrograde and Jupiter goes direct. That's a lot of activity in the sky this next week. Well, let's look at the daily forecast for the week of February 3rd through March 1st. Sunday, February 23rd, the moon begins the day in mind-expanding Sagittarius. The sun conjuncts Neptune at 12:11 p.m. Our sensitivity levels and our psychic sensors are turned up to maximum today. We'll all need more time for personal retreat, some meditation, or just some escapism. Typically, we would want to be in safe places, closer to nature, where we can turn down all of the external noise. This aspect is in effect all day. A little bit later in the afternoon, the moon sextiles Mercury at 2:04 p.m. Our minds are restless this afternoon, and we may need some activity or distraction to keep us entertained. We may also be a bit more nostalgic with this aspect. There are no more lunar aspects for the rest of the day, but the moon will not be void, of course. Overall, we should be in a more low-key kind of mood. Monday, February the 24th, the moon begins the day in mobile Sagittarius. The moon sextiles Mars 3:25 a.m. This is a great energy for converting your feelings into actions. If you're asleep, this may give us an active dream night. The moon is now void, of course, 3:25 a.m. until 7:50 a.m. when the moon enters productive Capricorn. The moon, however, does not make any aspects until later in the afternoon. It may be better if you waited until then to schedule important meeting or task. The moon sextiles Neptune 4:19 p.m. We are in a creative and open-minded mood. This aspect gives us the ability to relate more easily with those around us. It's a very good aspect for sales or for those who work in the design industry. The moon sextiles the sun 6:20 p.m. This is a great time for most any kind of activity. We are looking forward to doing something useful that really enhances our life. And finally, in the latter part of the day, Venus sextiles Saturn 10:50 p.m. Now, this planetary combination makes us reconsider what's really important to us and how much time and work necessary to make those things happen. This aspect is great for long-term planning, reviewing past decisions, and coming up with a clear plan to ensure our future security. This aspect is in effect all day. Tuesday, February 25th, the moon continues in future-oriented Capricorn. The moon squares Uranus at 1:15 a.m. This aspect will really stimulate our brain and may make it hard to sleep. If you're awake, this is a great time to be searching the internet. the moon opposes Jupiter at 1:23 a.m., and if you're awake chatting on the internet, you'll be talking to people from different countries. We're more open to others emotionally at this time. Later in the morning, the moon conjuncts Pluto at 5:20 a.m. We're clearing out our emotional closets, either in our dreams or in real life. This helps to detox our lives emotionally. If you are awake at this time, you could be a little crabby. The moon sextiles Saturn, 10:08 p.m. This aspect will help us make sense of the whole day, and it will certainly make the latter part of the evening a lot more productive than the earlier part of the day. This aspect is always good for reorganization and prioritization. The moon conjuncts Venus at 11:17 p.m. We seek some pleasure and luxury in the latter part of the evening. It's a great time to be with someone you love. Wednesday, February the 26th, the moon continues her journey through Capricorn this morning. Jupiter squares Uranus at 1:33 a.m. This aspect has been in play for the last few days. This energy, Jupiter square Uranus, helps us to think outside of the box. We don't feel bound by traditional methods, and our intuitive intelligence is enhanced. This aspect indicates a need for great freedom and equality everywhere. Sometimes this combination can represent justifications of any actions necessary. We can feel tense and restless with this aspect, and this aspect is in effect all day. Later in the morning, the moon squares Mars at 4:51 a.m. With the preceding aspect, this energy can make it difficult to sleep and will probably have us up early this morning. We're feeling a bit defensive as well, so if you see some drama, avoid it. The moon is now void of course 4:51 a.m. until 8:55 a.m. when Luna enters the intellectual sign of Aquarius. The moon does not make any more aspects today, even though it is not void of course. So even though we have a lot of energy today, we may feel that we're drifting about and not really able to move forward. And with the ongoing Mercury retrograde, take some time to complete the things that are already on your list instead of looking for new things to do. Thursday, February the 27th. The moon continues in heady Aquarius. The moon sextiles Uranus 1:54 a.m. If you're awake, this is a good time to be inventive or finding new ways to amuse yourself. The moon conjuncts Mercury at 2:01 p.m. in the afternoon. We're very talkative this afternoon. We may be talking about the most mundane activities in our life, but we are covering them in detail. This aspect is good for any type of presentation, sales meetings, or some really enjoyable gossip with your friends. The moon squares Saturn 10:11 p.m. We're working hard in the evening to assess our day and make sense of what we've been doing over the last 2 days. Be careful that you're not too negative in your review of yourself. Use this aspect to develop a better plan. Friday, February the 28th, the moon continues in Aquarius, the water bearer. The moon trines Mars at 4:55 a.m. This is a great time to be up early, planning your day, or going for a workout. And this will certainly make us feel more positive about our entire day. The moon is now void of course 4:55 a.m. until 8:53 a.m. Later morning activities will run smoother than early morning ones. Now, today, Mercury goes stationary direct at 8 a.m. Although Mercury going direct or forward, astrologically, she's not moving. It would be best to wait until March 7th when Mercury gets back to its original speed before you start any new projects. And of course, this can make this whole day feel very sluggish, or that things are just not moving. Expect some delays. The moon enters Pisces, the rescuer, at 8:53 a.m. And much later in the afternoon, the moon conjuncts Neptune at 5:17 p.m. And with Mercury stationary direct, this aspect will generally make us all want to go home early and just chill out. Choose your company wisely, as your emotional tolerance will be exceedingly low. The Sun trines Jupiter 10:05 p.m. We are feeling better overall as we get to the latter part of the evening. We're looking for some relief from our daily tensions and pressures. This aspect will open our hearts and our minds so that we can see the bigger pictures around us. This is a great aspect for any kind of business or future planning. And as always, it's a great time to be with your friends, sharing your evening together. This aspect will be in effect all day. Saturday, March 1st, the moon continues her path in touchy-feely Pisces. The moon trines Jupiter at 1:44 a.m. If you're awake, this is a great time to be with your friends. If you're asleep, it's a great night to be sleeping with your friends. The moon conjuncts the sun at 1:59 a.m. This is the new moon in Pisces. With this new moon, we're all more compassionate to our fellow human beings. This is a great aspect to have while you're sleeping, because it really helps to promote our sleep and dream life. Early in the morning, the moon sextiles Pluto, 5:55 a.m. This will get us up early and make us want to get on with our rat killing for the day. Mars goes stationary retrograde at 10:24 a.m. Mars retrograde takes place about every 2 years. With Mars retrograde, the unwatched pot at the back of the stove boils over. Look for old issues that we have in our relationships to resurface. With Mars retrograde, this is a great time to address those problems. However, it may mean that people are just simply at the end of their ropes with other people's actions, and they're just unwilling to tolerate that treatment. Mars retrograde makes us speak the truth even if we don't want to. Mars is retrograde until June 18th. It's best not to start any new projects until after that time. Finish the ones you've already started. This Mars stationary retrograde today can make us feel sluggish and slow. So, slow down and smell the flowers. Our last aspect for this Saturday, the moon trines Saturn at 10:37 p.m. What a very rational and realistic mood for this evening. You'll probably want to make your evening low-key, especially with this Mars retrograde. And speaking of Mars retrograde, starting March 5th, I'll be doing a 6-week class on Mars retrograde. It'll be every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. until 9 p.m. The cost of the class is $90. If you're interested, you can contact me via Lilly Roddy Show at AOL.com or find us at LillyRoddyShow.com on Twitter, Pinterest, or Facebook. Thank you so much for joining me this week. Please join us next week when I'll be covering March 2nd through March 8th of 2014. This is Lilly Roddy reminding you to keep those stars in your eyes. See you next week. Bye-bye.